Hey, welcome to the show. I'm the boxing doctor over here at theboxingscience.com. And right now, I'm going to give you a little bitty recap of the Canelo versus Callum Smith fight last night. I actually saw this fight live, and I'm here going to give you my 2 minutes of opinion, and I'm going to get out of the way. You know, the fight was pretty one-sided. Canelo kind of had his way. Um, Callum's 27-0 record just he wasn't able to put the fight up. He wasn't able to put the effort up like a 27-0 fighter would. And I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed. Just the things that I took away from this fight was, the lack of skill of Callum Smith as far as, his combination punches. He would throw in a few here and there, but nothing was really landing, man. He virtually had no body attack at all. He was unable to fight inside. He just wouldn't do it. He constantly moved back the entire fight. His ability, his footwork was just subpar. His stance spread so wide. All he could do was move back, move back. He would eventually find his back on the ropes, and that's where Canelo would go off on him. Now I get you. I tell you this: a lot of those punches that were thrown, Kellen Smith were actually blocking them. You know what I mean? But some of those shots were really hard. They got through. But for the most part, man, he was just playing too much defense for me. Backing up, backing up, backing up. I mean, one thing I don't understand about boxing is why do a fighter move back unless his intention is to perform some type of counterpunch? I don't see it. You might as well just stand right there toe to toe and try to get your shot in. He was supposedly the bigger man. He was for surely the taller man. He definitely had the reach advantage. All those are without question. Yet, when he got in the ring, the entire time he bagged up the entire night. And that's just bad. I often have a saying, when the taller guy or the bigger guy is moving backward, he's in trouble. And I'm about to say something here that I can't be sure of, but I'm going to say it anyway. I think they entered a solid agreement at some point in the fight. Callum Smith did with Canelo that, hey man, you're too good, and I'm gonna do wherever I can just to stay alive, make it to the bell. You're not knocking me out like you did my brother. I may take a loss, but I'm gonna stay in here. And why I say this solid agreement happened was after about the third or fourth round, I began to see Callum Smith touching gloves with Canelo Alvarez, saying, "Good round." I mean, that's what sparring partners do, man. I gave you some good work, man. Good round. And from that point on, I didn't think there was really any chance for Callum Smith to win. Now, I just heard something thanks to Boxing Social, post day interview of Callum Smith, where he mentioned that he hurt his left hand in the fight. It was early, maybe the third round, fourth round, somewhere in there, where he hurt his left hand and he wasn't able to throw his left hook, which is a primary weapon in his fighting style. But Canelo was really smooth last night with his defense, rolling with punches, nothing landing flush, constantly moving ahead, and I just didn't see Callum Smith stand up to the challenge. I didn't see him attempt to go forward at one time throughout this entire bout. He would just move back, move back, move back, get caught on the ropes, then he'd get punched. Most of the scoring by Canelo was when Callum Smith backed up and got caught on the ropes. And this is why I'm going to talk about his poor footwork. You're backing up. You know the only time he's scoring on you is when I get my back stuck on the ropes. Why don't you, as soon as you get your back stuck on the rope, you bounce over to the left or you bounce over to the right to try to break Canelo's rhythm? I saw none of that. I saw him constantly trying to shoot a jab, but It wasn't coming with a lot of right hands. It wasn't coming in combinations, three, four punch combinations. And his body attack was non-existent. And did you see Canelo Alvarez's face at the end of the fight? He's ready to go take a family photo. His face was beautiful, not a scratch on it, man. I think the only scratch I saw on his face was probably a razor cut from when he was shaving this morning. And that tells me right there, if a guy can get through an entire fight, man, and you can't put a mark on his face, you wasn't aggressive enough. And that's my disappointment in Callum Smith. 27-0, you guys. Supposedly the bigger man. No doubt about being the taller man. But he lacked the intensity, man. He lacked the overall fighting attack. No body attack. Wasn't using his jab, but just pawing with it. Not really coming behind him with the right hand. Now I can understand him saying, "Yeah, my left arm was hurt. I couldn't do that." I mean, you gotta adjust. And I think after about the fourth round of this bout, Callum Smith decided, "Hey, I just needed to survive. I hurt my left arm. I can't really hit him with anything. He's smooth. He's slick, and I'm in trouble. And let's just get out of here, get the paycheck, get the decision." If you look at those two guys' faces, Callum Smith's face has got some dents on it. Canelo Alvarez looks like he's ready to go and take a family photo. So I got to give Canelo a on his performance last night because he did land some hard shots, but Callum Smith's defense was pretty good. I actually gave Callum Smith 3 rounds of those 12 rounds. Now I can't tell you which one it was or which one they were, but at some point he put up enough effort in this fight. I mean, a judge gave him 4 rounds, I think. I think one guy had it 116, 112. So, hey, I could have been a judge last night. But I mean, this victory was just lopsided, man. And the whole moral of this story is just because you got some big flashy record, 25, 26, 27-0, when you step up to the elite fighters in the sport, they can make your record look like that record should have been like 27-5. And so I don't know where Callum Smith is going from here, but I heard an interview with him from Boxing Social. He says that Canelo doesn't have great punching power. He really is a good defensive fighter. Always keeps you thinking. But he's going to take some time off, Callum Smith I'm talking about, and then decide what he's going to do with his career. But overall, man, this thing was just one-sided, and I just didn't see that happening. I mean, Canelo is now getting to the point, man, where he is defying the weight classes of boxing. He's just moving from 154 to 160 to 168 like it's nothing. And then I think he fought Kovalev at a higher weight, which he took out. So he's becoming just an incredible, fantastic fighter, man. But I mean, there's still some big fish out there for him to fight. Who would you want to see him fight next? Canelo Alvarez. I mean, some of those people we got, possibly. We think about a Charlo. We think about somebody like Caleb Plant. We're thinking about somebody like I kind of got stumped there. The person I was thinking about was David Benavidez. And there's some outstanding fights that could be made in that division. And, I mean, it's a crazy rumor out there that Earl Spence Jr. is trying to move up in class and get into the Canelo sweepstakes. Now, that would be a mega fight. A Earl Spence Jr. versus Canelo Alvarez fight. I'm not sure at what weight we can do this thing at. Can we do it at maybe like 160? Can Earl Spence go up that high? Is he that tall? Would he still be effective at that size? But I would love to see him. David Benavidez, Caleb Plant, one of the Charlo brothers, the one that's in that division. I mean, hey, I would love to see it. I would love to see that. And I'm so glad that we're getting a vaccine so we can get some people in these stands. They did have some fans there last night, a nice little crowd. And Canelo put on a good show. I know he was trying to get the knockout. And according to Callum Smith, his punching power was not that great at that weight. So that's something to be said about Canelo moving up higher in weight. If he gets against a more skillful fighter who he can't hurt, who may have enough punching power to hurt him. I mean, it's a lot to be said. It's a lot to be said, and it's some great fights that can be made. I would love to see them. I would love to see them. And I can't wait. I can't wait. So yeah, that's my kind of my thoughts on this thing. Um, it just basically came down to, according to Callum Smith, even if I had both my hands, I probably wouldn't have got the victory. He was just too good for me. I mean, you can hear him say it right here. Just hold on, let me get that a comment.
Reflect on the fight for me.
I was a bit disappointed. I've lost for the first time in my career, and it's a tough pill to swallow. And I know people can say, well, you lost to the best fighter on the planet, but it doesn't really make it any easier. To be honest with you, I come here with all ambition to winning, and I believe I'm the best fighter in the world at this weight. And I genuinely did believe that. But listen, he was good. He was a clever fighter. I don't think he really the best of me in there, but he was probably too good for me on the night. And no, I've got no problems in saying that. His power wasn't massive. He was a decent puncher, but not. I probably expected bigger. I think overestimated opponent's power, but it was more just his presence. He keeps you thinking of what's coming next, and before you know it, he's closed the gap down without throwing a punch. And his jab was pretty good for the smaller person. His jab was probably the biggest surprise for me. But say he's just a clever fighter, and so hard to get clean.
What went wrong for you on the?
There you go. That are comments right there. You heard it directly from his mouth, directly from the former champion's mouth. Callum Smith just told you Canelo was clever. His punching power wasn't all that great, but hey, he kept me thinking, and he was the better man that night. Now, if they would have fought, if they fight 10 times in a row, would Callum Smith have any chance of winning? Probably not. I say not. So what's next for Callum Smith? I don't know. Go back to the drawing board. Work on your skills. I mean, 27 is really not a lot of fights when you think about it. It's not like he's fought 40 fights and fought a bunch of champions. So he got some room to grow. If I was him, I would go back to the drawing board, and some things I would work on is some counter punching skills. Since he continues to doesn't really have any inside fighting skills, he need to work on his counter punching skills. Backing up, shooting the jab off of, making his opponent reach. He already has a reach advantage. Then come across with the overhand right with the left hook behind it, and he can revive his career. I would work definitely on his lateral movement all night long. All night long. It was just a shame, man. You screaming at the TV saying, stay off the ropes, stay off the ropes. But every single round, man, he would find himself somehow on the ropes, blocking left hooks and right hip, from Canelo, but Canelo would occasionally get that uppercut in, and that that had to look good to the judges. Can you tell a guy that's that tall with that type of reach to become an inside fighter, man? That's what he needed to be last night. Was an inside fighter in the middle of the ring, throwing throwing combination punches with his reach. Is it too late for him to learn that? Or is he going to constantly be a backup fighter, backup fighter, backup fighter all night long? And, fight lesser opponents that he can get that reach off on. But Canelo was rolling and sliding with punches last night. And looking at Canelo's face, obviously, he wasn't hitting the face that many times. Because he didn't have a scratch on it. He may have went home last night and the kids was like, didn't even ask, Dad, are you okay? He didn't have a scratch on his face. And so those are the areas I would recommend Callum Smith working on. Working on some counter punching skills. He's tall. Get better at his lateral movement. Work on his footwork. His stance is too wide. He's moving backwards constantly. And he was kind of squatting where he was making himself is almost the same height as his opponent. That's a bad thing. Become a better inside fighter. I don't know how you become a better inside fighter because I'm just a fan at boxing. I'm not a boxing coach or uh, have no knowledge in boxing training. But I can look and see if a guy can't fight on the inside when he doesn't fight on the inside. And sometimes you got to move forward on your opponent. I wonder what would have happened if he would have decided, hey, heck or high water, I'm not taking another dang step backwards. If you come near me, we're just going to have to clinch up and the referee's going to have to break us. But I'm not taking another step back. I'm not spending another second on these stupid ropes where you can get off on me. So it's a lot to be said for Canelo's performance tonight. I'm not going to give it an A because of the level of competition. I mean, I watch a lot of boxing. And until just this recently, this fight, I had really never heard of Callum Smith. I had never heard of him. I think I had heard of his brother. I know I heard of Liam Smith. But I'd never heard of Callum. So that tells me right now, 27-0, he hasn't been on the big stage fighting big name fighters where I would know him. And I watch boxing all the time from the newcomers to the middle class to the top level. And of course there's thousands of boxers around the world. But yeah, he was exposed last night, Callum Smith. And of course, if you lose your left hand, you're going to have some problems. He said it hurt his left arm. I believe him. He has no reason to lie. But that just was not a championship performance. The title was taken from Callum Smith by Canelo Alvarez. It was taken. So I think that's pretty much my wrap up here for that Canelo versus Smith. Who would you like to see Canelo fight next? If you want to come join one of these live streams, go join the website. I'm over at www.theboxingscience.com where we talk boxing business, boxing strategy, and we just hang out and chat. Thanks a lot.